Hello, creative friends, and welcome to the Stampin' Squad. My name is Cheryl Dorsey. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today is Monday, May 26th, 2025. All right, let me just move you a little bit here, a little bit crooked. Okay, that's a little better. Hello, and welcome. I hope you're having a good day today. It's a holiday here in the United States. It's Memorial Day. So I hope if you had the day off, you're enjoying that. And today we're going to make a fun fold. But before we do that, I just want to make sure that you know where to find me. So that's me, and that's my website. So if you have questions for me or you just want to get in touch and say hi, if you go to my website, you can get my email address and all my contact information, um, all my social media platforms, all the things about me are over there. Also, I have a page with lots of projects, lots of my projects, and they include measurements and shopping lists. So you might want to check out the projects tab over there. And then, of course, also you can shop on my website. And I want to remind you guys that this month, if you place an order on my website, I will send you one of my handmade cards. I'm very happy to do that, and it just makes me happy to be able to send you a card. So any order on my website, I will send you a card. And if your order, the product total is $100 or more, then I'm also going to send you a little gift along with that card. So just wanted to make sure that you knew that. And let me check my computer over here and see how we're doing. If you are joining me live today, I hope you'll say hello in the chat. Would like to be able to say hi back to you. And last week we had quite a few people, and we were all chatting together, and that's what makes it really fun. Okay, fun fold it is. And one other thing before I get started, I do have a whole playlist of fun folds here on my YouTube channel. So if you like fun folds, be sure and check that out. And you can just sit back and relax and watch a whole bunch of fun folds. All right, let me show you what I've got for today's card. Hi, Mary. I just saw your name pop up. Hi, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here. All right, so this is just basic black cardstock, and it is 4.5 inches by 5.5 inches. Then I've got another piece of basic black. It's 2.5 inches, and this is 8.5 inches. I don't have a long enough ruler to show you that, but it's 8.5 inches long, and it's scored in the middle at 4.25. All right. Then I've got a couple pieces of basic white. This one is just 2.25 inches by 4 inches. And I have another piece here that is 3.25 by 4.5. This piece of Daffodil Delight is the same piece as the smaller piece of basic white, 2.25 by 4. And then I've got some strips here. I've got two strips of Daffodil Delight and four, 1, 2, 3, 4, of Poppy Parade, and those are a 1/2 inch wide and 4.25 inches long. So those are all the things we need. And where should we start? Let's start with stamping. Oh, I guess I could tell you what I'm going to use today. That would be nice. I'm using one of the brand new bundles that just released earlier this month in the online exclusives. And this is the stamp set, Poppin By. It is the cutest. It's the absolute cutest. All these little pieces of popcorn and this little bag of popcorn. Adorable. And it also comes with dies. So let me show you these dies. Hold on. Here we go. And we're going to use all but one of these today. So all of these right here, we're not going to use this one, but this one is super cute too. It looks like a piece of film, like a little strip of film. So that's adorable. That's what we're up to today. I'm also going to use one of the dies from the Nested Essentials dies, the smallest rectangle. I'm going to use that. Okay, think that's everything I wanted to tell you up front. So let's stamp. Let's stamp. I'm going to stamp on here first. I'm going to grab my Daffodil Delight ink. And let's see. I'm going to use this cute little stamp, the happy little popcorn kernel. And I'm going to just stamp that down here in the corner. Super cute. I love it. And then I'm going to grab a scrap here. I've got a scrap of basic white, and I'm going to stamp this in the Daffodil Delight. Make sure we get that on there well. That's pretty good. And actually, we're only going to see the top part of that. So as long as those little pieces of popcorn stamped well, that's all I really need on that. I'm going to stamp another popcorn piece on this. First, I get that little fuzzy out of the way. So we'll do this one in the corner. There it is. This is just such a fun set. I mean, I usually love all of the florals. And of course, I loved those too. We did a floral card last week, and we'll do another one next week. But this was a fun change, and I just couldn't resist it. Okay, let's talk about. I don't think I need yellow anymore, so let's put that away. And before we started today, I used the same popcorn bag stamp, but I stamped it in Poppy Parade like this. Okay, so I did that. And then I took my paper snips and I cut off. Oops, I just turned my light down. I just cut the bag off and I threw away the red popcorn because I didn't need the red popcorn. So I did that before we went on today. So I'm holding on to this guy. We're going to use that in just a minute. Put this over to the side. And now I think we can do some die cutting. So I'm going to use my mini today. Let me get my plates. And let's cut some things out. So I've got my little bag of popcorn here. And let me grab that die. Put that on. And I'm going to use a little piece of Post-it note tape just to hold that in place so it doesn't jump around. And then I'm going to go ahead and run this through at the same time. Just a little scrap of basic black. And I am going to die cut out these little glasses and these little shoes. So adorable. So let's get that done. Asking my left head to turn that crank, and it's like, what? What? How am I supposed to do that? Okay, here's our little glasses and these little shoes. They're so adorable. Okay, let's put those over here. And then we've got this little bag of popcorn. All right, but I'm not finished. I'm not finished die cutting. Let's do a little bit more. That away. Here we go. Got just another scrap here, basic white. And we're going to do some popcorn. So they have these little double dies, they nest together. And so it cuts out the outline of the popcorn, but then it also puts a little texture on it, which makes it even more fun. So we've got three of those. I'm going to use all three. One more. Welcome, you guys. I see some other people have hopped in here. Thank you for being here. All right, we can run these through. Okay, let's see if I can get my left left hand working again. Here we go. Hold it still. All right, I think we made it. Move all of this out of the way. We'll take it apart. All right, what have we got? Move all the dies over here to my magnetic sheet so I don't lose them. And you can see here, they are die cut out, but they also have these little cuts in them, so it gives them a little bit of texture. They look like real pieces of popcorn. And I'm going to add just a little something to these to make them, I think, even more realistic. So let me grab a piece of scrap paper. See if I can find a piece of scrap paper. This'll work. This'll work. So I'm going to put a little color, and I'm going to use this Stampin' Blend marker in the light Daffodil Delight. I'm just going to kind of put a little color right where each of these cuts are, so they show up just a little bit better. There we go. And now I'm going to add just a little bit of color on some of the edges. So I'm not going to go all the way around and put a solid line, but I'm just adding a little bit here and there. Put a little bit over here, maybe a little bit right there. And get some nice buttery popcorn here. Is anybody else popcorn fanatic? I do like popcorn, but my son is a real fanatic. Okay, there we are. Let me hold these up so you can see them. There. A little better look at those. You can see the little daffodil delight accents on there. Very cute. And this piece of paper was from mystery stamping the other night. So that was the last piece of paper we saw that said mystery solved. So mystery stamping is something you're interested in, send me an email because I would be very happy to send you some details about that. I do that once a month. All right, I'm going to stamp one more thing. And this one says no one's better than you, which is, you know, Everybody loves a pun, right? I do. No one's better than you. There we go. All right. And I moved my stamp a little bit, so I don't love the way that turned out, but this doesn't help me do my best stamping, as you might imagine. So before we went on, I did stamp it, and I stamped it where I liked it. So that's the one I'm going to use. I think I have three or 4 more weeks. I think it's probably 4 weeks before I get set free from this brace. And I will be really happy when that happens. So this is that Nested Essentials die. Gonna put that in here. Let's center that up. There we go. Little post-it note tape. And we'll send this through. Maybe. There we go. There we go. If you didn't already know, if you look in the description below the video, I have some information down there. There's a link over to that projects page on my website that I talked about to this project. So measurements are there, shopping list is there, and then I have links to all my social media down there as well. So if you're looking for ways to connect with me, and then the last thing, I also have links to some of my favorite tools that you can get on Amazon. So some other little crafting essentials that I like to use. Okay, let's get started with this. Now we're going to start putting some things together. Now here's my strips, my Poppy Parade and my Daffodil Delight strips. I'm just going to grab my glue. I'm going to put a little on the back of this and I said these were 4 1/4, and I actually cut them just a little bit longer because I figured if I tried to cut all these strips and cut them all exactly at 4 1/4, I would not do it. They wouldn't all be exactly the same length. So I cut them all just a little bit longer, and when I get them all on here, then I can just go along and trim them, and then they will all be the same length. So, in case you're wondering, you're like, hey, that's hanging off. Yep, it is. Oh, you know what? I don't want to put that one on first. Let's start over. A red one goes first. A red one goes first. Okay, we'll come back to that yellow one in a minute. And a red. I get right at the edge. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Yes, that looks pretty good. Now let's use that yellow one. It's already a little bit sticky, a little on that. And I'm going to just push it right up next to the red piece that I started with. There we go. All right. Now, another piece of Poppy Parade. And again, just pushing it right up against that yellow piece. Okay. Now, I'm gonna flip this around. I'm gonna do the same thing starting from this end. So let's start with that red piece. Poppy Parade. I'll get it right up against the edge. Oh, pretty good. That's why I like the glue because I can move things around just a little bit. Daffodil Delight. We're almost done. That here next to Poppy Parade. Make sure we get everything lined up as best as possible. I'm kind of icky about that kind of stuff. Right, and our last piece of Poppy Parade. Push right up against that Daffodil Delight. All right, there we are. Mm, mm. Now, let's talk about this piece. I'm going to fold and burnish on that score line. So we'll fold it in half here. Oh, see some more of you jumping in. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're having a great Monday. Say hi in the comments so I can say hi back to you. Tell me where you're watching from. Okay, let's put some things together here. This is going to go on the inside. Let's do that. And push that down. And this is going to go on the outside. I might have to make some microwave popcorn this evening. You're making me kind of crave it. Sounds good right now. Okay, now let's go back to this little character. All right, we're going to layer these, but I don't need all of this down here. So I'm just going to trim that off. And put a little glue on here, just on the bag, and then layer these. See if I can push that around to where I want it. There we are. Clever. I like it. I like it. All right, he's going to go on the front down here. And then our little sentiment is going to go up there. Let's go ahead. I'm just going to glue him on. I am going to use some dimensionals in a few minutes. I love this little smile. Just a little bitty smile. It's so cute. Okay. Yeah. We want to put all of these on. So I'm going to use my reverse tweezers and I'm going to put the tiny, tiny, tiniest little bit of glue right here. And then maybe just kind of dab it over here and over there. And then I can put these down. I love my reverse tweezers because my fingers usually end up sticking to something or just kind of getting in the way when I've got little tiny pieces like this. So let me grab a take your pick tool. I'm going to use that for this little feet. And I found it easiest to put just a dab of glue right here. And now you make sure I've got these right with the right side facing up. And then we can take this and position it here where we want it. I'm just going to use the point here, right there. Press that down. And let's put the other shoe on. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were saying it would be funny to put like two left feet. It's like, yeah, that would be clever. That's funny. Okay, that is the other shoe. Oh my goodness, so funny. Really funny. All right. Now, let's adhere this. Let's see, we'll put it kind of right over here. I'm gonna scoot it just a little bit over to that side. There we are. And now I think I'm gonna go ahead and adhere this to the front, but first I'm gonna trim down here. We talked about that. So let's trim off these pieces that are a little bit longer than we need. And on this side. There we go. All right. Now we'll put it on there. And then we got to add our popcorn. So let me get some glue on here. There we are. And so see, you can see why I started on each end and put my stripes in here, because then the black space is just left in the middle and this can just cover it up. So if something is maybe a little bit crooked or there's a little tiny space or whatever, you make it up when you put this over the top of it. No one will ever know. No one will ever know. Okay, we need some dimensionals to pop up our popcorn. I think we just need one on each of these. And before I do that, I'm going to flip this over because we do have some room here. So if all you wanted to say was happy birthday, right, or something simple, you could do that and just sign your name. But sometimes we want to say a little bit more. So I decided that I would also put a white piece on the back. So there's a little bit more room to write a message. So Mary, what do you think about this one? Do you like the popcorn? It is something that's a little different. There we go. So that's our extra space. Now let's add these. And I'm gonna put this one right in here. I'm gonna squeeze him right in there. And one down here. And one more. So there we go. No one's better than you. I think that is so cute. It's so fun. Something a little unexpected, I think. And then more room to write on the back. But I love this style of fun fold. I've used it with other projects, and it's very versatile. So I thought it looked good for today. This is kind of, to me, it reminds me of like a big top theme, like a circus theme. And so I thought that was appropriate for some popcorn. So thank you guys for stopping by today. If you're watching the replay, be sure to leave me a comment and tell me where you're watching from. But I appreciate that you came by today to watch me make a card for you. And I hope that if you like popcorn and you don't have the Poppin By Bundle yet, um, I hope you grab it because it's so much fun. All right. I will see you again next Monday, 4 o'clock Pacific time with another card. And so I hope you have a great week. Bye bye.